ought to pump this show up a notch.
1, 2, 3, go.
From the middle of nowhere, outside of his bathroom, this is DJ Roberts and Jeff the Tech.
All of you, get ready.
And now,
with Random Overflow.
Yeah, we got to get a new audio console in here.
I don't know why it does that, but who knows?
This is the crappiest setup I ever could imagine.
This is why Radio Shack went out of business right here.
We have one of those Radio Shack mixing consoles that we bought when Radio Shack went out of business because it was on sale.
Awful.
And it is one of the most terrible things you could ever use.
If you could idolize why Radio Shack went out of business, this thing is it. It is just terrible. They did nothing correct on this thing.
All right, we haven't been doing these shows in a couple months. At the old house, at the old rental we were at, I think we did, what, 2?
2 of them, yeah.
2. But now we're here at the new rental. We finally got the new studio set up. We used to have not too bad of an audio console for the show.
Used to.
But our storage locker got broken into that we were renting, and someone cut the lock on it.
Of course they did.
And threw our console in the middle of this rental property or storage unit facility place thing.
Which, when we say console, we mean like a 4-foot by 2-foot thing. I mean,
it's like a mixing board, but
it's
for
big.
but for radio stations. And this was given to me by a really near and dear friend, and it meant a lot to me. And now it's pretty much garbage because some jerk broke into it.
I mean, if you're going to do that, at least take it. I mean, what's the point of breaking something? I mean, if you're going to do that kind of stuff, at least take the friggin' thing.
We did luck out, though.
We did luck out.
There was people who had tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff stolen from them, and my heart just goes out to them because there's 2 things in my life that I hate the most. Liars would be 1, thieves would be number 2. So, these guys were jerks. They broke into our storage facility. Not that we can see they didn't rob anything.
No.
But they might have.
They might have, and we just don't
have.
notice it. But, I mean, if they took something and we don't notice it, I guess,
We didn't really miss it anyhow.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. There was the generator right in front of the door. Why didn't they
We were
take
just so
that?
astonished that they didn't take the generator.
I mean, we even waited for the cops to show up because we didn't want to open our unit and anything. And then they open it and, it looks like nothing happened. I mean, other than being a little differently rearranged.
Nothing short of a miracle, if you ask me. But
it was.
So here we are doing the show on a little Radio Shack console that I bought at Radio Shack when they were going out of business because it was a good deal. And DJ Roberts, he can't pass up the good deal.
Never. You bought 2 of these, actually.
I did.
And the cheaper one is probably better.
The cheaper one is in my office at the radio station. You see, Jeff and I packed up and we moved to western slope of Colorado. And it's a lot better weather out here, a lot nicer. I've got a job that I actually get paid to talk on the radio because, Jeff and I actually don't get paid to do this. This isn't a real job.
No, this isn't. This doesn't pay the bills.
They call this podcasting, Jimbo.
Yeah, I wish you could actually get rich off of podcasting.
We're podcasters.
Like everyone tries to do. Because, man, if it was that easy, we'd be millionaires.
So can we talk about the Indie Authority?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'd be fine talking about them.
The people who run the Indie Authority kind of kicked us off their network. First, they kicked off the Dirty South Network. Then they went behind the Dirty South Network's backs and asked us to join their network. And Jeff and I are like, the more exposure, the better.
Yeah. So
we were uploading shows to our website, randomoverflow.com. She's this lady who's in charge of this stupid Dirty South, or not, excuse me, the Indie Authority. Yeah. So she texts me every day, 3 times a day, and it's like, when are you going to upload stuff to social media talking about your show? And I'm like, I'm a production director for 3 radio stations that bill over $1 million a year. So this is kind of more important than, dicking around with social media.
How she kept saying you need to submit your shows every day. Just go to the website.
Yes.
There's a download link to download the MP3. on the website. Anyone can do that, okay?
That's Jeff the Tech for you.
If you can't go to a website and download an MP3, you're past what I can help. I mean, I don't know what to tell you at that point. I mean, can you make it any simpler?
You made it as simple as possible, and she couldn't understand
And she's just like, every week you need to send me an email with the show.
Okay, well, we sent you a link to the
Okay.
webpage where you can download them.
You don't have to do anything. You don't
And
have
so
to.
finally, Jeff,
Yeah.
finally started emailing these damn shows to her. And she starts messaging me, I need to have show prep for your show.
Oh yeah. And how come you aren't saying these are published on social media and all kinds of... Oh, Jesus.
I have a job. This is just what it's always been ever since.
And we were in the middle of moving on top of this.
Ever since we started with Random Overflow, it's always been just for fun. And I promised Jeff it would never be like work. Just two dudes sitting in front of mics talking about random stuff. Hence, Random Overflow. So,
I mean, if I got to do that kind of stuff, my paycheck needs to see a paycheck.
You're doing it pro bono.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
she just...
I
so we're not on the
we're
Indie Authority or whatever the hell
we're
you
not
wanna call it.
affiliated with them anymore.
Who
I guess you would say.
cares? Who cares? We got the Dirty South Network. Hats off to them for putting up with us not doing a show in 4 months. What can you do when you're moving and you're moving from house to house? Speaking of moving from house to house, when we lost the last rental we were at, it was like a house that was for sale, and the realtor was really cool. Just let us crash there and pay her rent
With no deposit or anything.
with no deposit. She
Which
was
was
awesome. And she let us. She included the electric bill, the water bill, and all that in one lump sum, which is like $800. And that might seem a little steep to you, but the cost of living out here,
Oh, that's dirt cheap for here.
cheap.
When you consider utilities were included and everything, that was nothing.
Now we're paying $800, and we still have to pay for water, trash, electricity,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So that's why we haven't been on the air.
I like that house better too, to be honest with you.
The house was a lot better, had a lot better view. I mean, looking out this window here, we don't have a beautiful view of the mountains and everything. We just have it's kind of like, I don't know, what would you call that over there? The area we're in is a nice subdivision, but it's back to back with a trailer park.
We are no joke on the line of where this town turns from decent to not so decent. I guess is the best way I can put it.
Put a tarp over your house to stop the lake.
Yeah.
It's poverty.
I've never seen a town where it just changes like
We live in
one street over though. It's
little
kinda
town,
weird.
and I encourage you to look this up. It is the smallest town you'll ever see.
It is a very small town.
We have a Family Dollar.
Yep.
That's about it. I mean, we lived in a town in northern Michigan that
I
was
thought that
pretty
town
much,
was small.
but this is small. But we're closer to a Walmart, way closer. We're about 15 minutes away, whereas when we lived there, we were about a half hour, 45 minutes.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah.
A half hour if you were speeding. But,
So 15 minutes. Plus, I work in the town that's got the Walmart, so after work, I can pick stuff up, So,
Which probably people are wondering, why do you want to go to a Walmart? But if you've ever been where you can't go to one, it really sucks.
Walmart.
When you're like, oh man, we need some toilet paper, and you got to think, dang, it's going to take 45 minutes to get there. We're going to screw around for an hour when we get there. It's going to take 45 minutes. It's like your whole day is spent going to Walmart.
It is. It is.
At least here, you can just get in your car, go, come back, and still have your day,
So I'm hosting a morning show on a light rock radio station, which is all right. And then I'm doing a evening drive, afternoon show, whatever you want to call it, for a country radio station. So I'm on the air here, and doing the Random Overflow radio show is just... I don't want to stop this because,
No,
what do we have to lose?
Well, that, and we do actually have listeners, which I still scratch my head about every day, but we do.
Plenty of them.
Yeah, quite a few. I actually have people who have been asking me where the show has been.
Where has the show been?
Yeah.
I'll tell you where it's been. It's been in a bunch of boxes in a storage unit which got broken into.
I don't think people realize what it takes to set something like this up.
So going back to the storage unit getting broke into, that audio console, I guess they said, oh, look at this. This is some audio equipment, man. This be worth some money. And so I guess they tried to pick it up.
And then they realized
how heavy this thing is because it's from the 1980s. And they're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, then they realized, holy, this thing is like 300 pounds. We ain't taking this thing.
So they threw it out in an alley. Probably got rained on.
Probably.
Let's talk about the day after this happened. I got a voicemail from this lady. She says, your storage locker's been broken into. Come on out here to see what stuff you have lost. There's really nothing you can do about it because it wasn't insured. Whatever. So we get out there, and the lady's like, oh, you want me to open up your storage locker? And both Jeff and I both scream at the same time, no!
Yeah, don't open it.
Because we're waiting for the cops to show up. Because,
Yeah, if you ever get broken into or have something taken or anything, you never want to go in it, ever.
Because we could have just said, oh, we had about $10,000 in knives in there.
Because then the cops aren't going to believe you.
Uh-huh.
You could say, I had anything in there, and if it ever goes to court, you're going to be suing this guy and have no proof that you actually had what was in there. So.
To our knowledge, they never caught the people.
Nope, which is
amazing.
amazing.
Jeff thinks they're professionals because after they cut the locks, they took them with them.
Yeah, they broke into about 15 units.
I think it was more than that.
Well, that's roughly.
Yeah, something like that.
And they took all the locks that they cut. They took the pieces of lock that, when you cut them, a piece falls out, like a little bar piece. They took that and everything. And they're somewhat smart to do that because you can match tools to something that has cut something with the scrapes on them and stuff. So
they weren't stupid.
They weren't stupid. They had. You're pretty stupid if you rob 15 storage units, but they had some.
That takes some serious balls.
I
mean, who the hell does that? I mean,
it was right across the street from that campground.
It was a campground full of campers. I mean, we live in a tourist town.
And it's clear as day to see someone if someone drives by.
The storage locker that we're talking about is in a very populated town called Montrose, Colorado. And it's a tourist attraction. It's got a campground right across the street. It's fully lit. And these guys just might...
There's a road going straight past it. You can see
I couldn't have done it if you paid me.
Just the fact that you can see every storage unit from the road would be enough to make me nervous to where I'd be like, no. Somebody's going to drive by, somebody's going to wake up in those campers. I mean, campers have thin walls.
That's loud.
Yeah, if you've ever taken a grinder to a piece of metal, it's loud. Mm-hmm. Or even a pair of bolt cutters is pretty loud because the pieces go flying. They don't just cut and it's like
you see, if Jeff and I were to break into a locker like that, we'd be like, oh, radio equipment, nice. We could get a few $1,000s worth of this. They looked in there and they're like, what the hell is an Optimod audio processor?
Yeah, they didn't take the processors, the microphones, the computers.
Which is good because we had a lot of good stuff on these computers. A lot of good radio shows that we did that would have been lost forever if, so.
I just don't know why they didn't take anything. All I can think of is we were like the last unit and they got scared off. Who knows?
Idiots.
Probably never know. You know what really, I'll say, you know what really ground my gears on that though?
Grinds my gears.
The lady, when she's walking around, locks for sale. Replace your cut lock.
The lady who owns the storage unit, and Jeff was pissed. I had to literally put my hand on his shoulder and be like, dude, calm down. We don't want to go to jail. You're going to end up cussing this lady out. We're going to end up going to jail. He's like...
Can you throw salt in a wound any more than that, though? I mean, honestly,
your storage locker's been broken into, but guess what? We'll sell you locks for...
$10, $10
there's
these like she went to the dollar store and bought a bunch of dollar locks and was like, $10 locks. Like, really? That's what you're going to do? You're not going to come help people or anything? You're just going to walk up and down screaming locks for sale?
That's what she did.
Yep.
Jeff was pissed.
So needless to say, we will never be renting from them.
And needless to say, I will never rent from a storage place ever again.
Definitely not.
Because, you think, okay, if I get a storage locker, there's no way someone's going to break into it because they would tell us, right? Well, it didn't work out that way. After it had been broken into, the police officer that Jeff and I had called to meet us when we opened up the door, so, there wouldn't be any question. She said, oh, this happens about what?
Once a month?
Once a month around here? And I'm like, well, that would have been nice if they told us when we rented the damn place.
Yeah. That's some really awesome information to know before we pack everything we own into this.
And we did. But
You know, the thing is, we still would have rented the storage unit if we knew that.
we
We would have
put
just put like clothing and stuff in there.
couches
Yeah.
and beds.
Stuff that you're not going to want to take.
Exactly. So we still would have rented it. They wouldn't have lost any business, but
Oh, jeez.
that's what happens when you're stuck up like that, I guess. I don't know.
They
gotta make money somehow.
You don't have to make money by screwing people, though. I mean, you really don't.
I mean, there was those people in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We were there for the NAB, but
I don't know how you could... How could you just keep renting places to people, though, knowing that they're going to get robbed? You know what I mean? How could you have that on your conscience? Like, yeah, I'm selling this guy this. He's going to give me money, and he's going to get robbed this month. Like, I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. That would get to me.
so we were talking about Vegas. I got to get on this topic, get off
Vegas.
this dirty topic. I have this little app on my smartphone, and before I went to Las Vegas last April, it's called the Slots, My Vegas Slots.
My
or
Vegas Slots.
something like that. And you can earn comp points to spend, and we actually redeemed them and used them at the buffet and stuff. Well, I told Jeff, I am so proud of the 20,000 comps I have saved up.
Don't gamble, kids. It's bad. What?
And Jeff goes, oh, really, 20,000? So Jeff, being the computer genius that he is, he figures out how to comp all kinds of points. And he goes, well, I'm up to 8,000 a day. So
In the first day I've played it, and he's been playing this for like the last 6 months, you know?
to be honest with you, I haven't played it since April, but still.
Yeah, but before that, you played the crap out of it.
Every day. And it came into handy because when we were there, I bought a monorail ticket. I bought a buffet at the clown place.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Circus. That's
at
the name.
8,000 a day, we're getting free airfare, free monorail. The MGM is not going to like us.
So Jeff figured out how to hack into that.
It's not technically hacking in. It's a fake person playing. Let's just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
But yeah, we're
Probably the best idea.
going to be able to go to Vegas, like all expenses paid every month. Like that includes airfare, the hotel room. Well, you still got to pay like $30 for the hotel, but I mean, come on, that's
You have to pay taxes.
yeah, that's nothing.
What it is.
And you have to pay like $18 for the airfare because of all the tax. But to go to Vegas for $50, I mean, come on, that's pretty good.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we moved out here is because we're just so close to Vegas.
It is going to be nice to be able to go there and not have to spend $500 on
To
a
get
flight,
home.
and
Yeah.
that kind of sucked. But
So
hey, now we can actually drive there, which is
Colorado,
pretty nice.
man, it's a nice state to live. There's a lot of stoners here because marijuana or whatever.
marijuana.
The reefer.
The reefer. I haven't heard someone call it the reefer in a very long time.
Pot.
I don't think you're old enough to call it the reefer.
Pot is legal in the state of Colorado.
It
and
is.
There's a lot of stoners.
Which is so weird just to be able to walk into a store. Because you can just legitimately walk into a store and buy it. Like, you don't have to do anything. You can just walk in and buy it. And it's so weird coming from a state where you would go to jail for even having it to coming to a state where you can
No
walk in,
questions
buy
asked.
it,
Yeah.
and they'll put it in a bag and you can walk out and walk down the street, and that's perfectly legal. It's just
It's the Twilight Zone, I guess you could say.
it just doesn't feel like the U.S., to be honest with you. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's like something that you've grown up with for so long. That's always been so
Yeah, but
illegal.
alcohol is way worse for you. But the government taxes that, and then they figured out, well, we can tax marijuana.
Oh, the tax here is 26% or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's on top of the 8% tax and all kind. It's ridiculous. I mean, you wind up paying like 40% tax by the end of it, but that's how they tax tobacco and alcohol. So
That is.
you just don't realize it because that's how it's always been. But yeah, that's how they do it. So and you know what? They make really good money off of it. I'll tell you one thing. They got a lot better roads in this state than we do in Michigan. A lot better.
So we're now citizens. I just got my Colorado license in the mail the other day.
Their licenses look terrible here.
Yeah.
It looks like it's something you would buy at the dollar store.
They don't put much time into it.
No, it's the most bland, lame thing I've ever seen. They might rank the worst, but yeah, you're now a Coloradian, I think you would call it.
I guess
don't know.
that'd be what I am.
The Coloradians.
Been here 3 months. Started as a program or production director at this radio station, and then they just moved me to music director. I wasn't complaining. The job's so much easier, to be honest with you. I mean, it's radio, so it's easy anyway. You're going in and you're playing on the computer and you're making, good commercials and stuff.
I think you get the easy side of this deal.
Yeah, so they wanted me to be music director, so the former music director could have production director, I guess, under her belt and put it on the resume. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing. We haven't been able to do the show in a while because of it.
We actually had someone show up, though, to help us out with it, so that was good.
Yeah, Mikey, we had him on one of our episodes. He's one of the... he works for a major company that builds audio processing, and so he came in here and set up our studio to make us sound, I guess, decent. So that worked out well.
That worked out very well.
Flew all the way here from North Carolina to Colorado. That's, 2 time zones away.
There was a lot of stuff in here. I mean, I can figure out most stuff, but when it comes to that,
audio processing. I couldn't do that if
I couldn't do it either. I can figure out anything else, but when it comes to that, you're soaring over my head. I just hook the wire up on the back and hope it's set right. But
yeah.
I mean, I think it sounds pretty good.
So he's got this show sounding good. Hopefully we can, get in a more routine.
Have a more regular show pattern.
Yeah, but you see how it used to work back in Michigan is on my days off, which were Monday and Tuesday, I went to go get you on a Monday, and then you'd come over, we'd hang out all night, do the radio show, and then the next morning when I woke up, you were gone because your dad was here to pick you up. But that doesn't happen anymore because you live here now. I mean, if your dad showed up every single week, we'd be bankrupt by all the gas and the plane tickets to fly out here every week. So we got to figure it out. Did he even
make it back to Michigan?
I don't think so.
I don't think he would make it back because it would take like 3 days to get there. Then 3 days. Oh, you'd make it, but you'd go to Michigan for a day and come here for a day, and
it wouldn't work anyway. No. So that's why Jeff packed up and moved out here to Colorado, also because I think of certain legal logistics to other substances. But I won't get into that.
It is a lot nicer here, though.
But anyways, so today
a lot nicer.
I got an email since I had been here for 3 months from my work saying that my dental and health insurance was in full swing and that it was effective. So I went ahead and went to the dentist's office and got my teeth cleaned. Well, they found an issue with my wisdom teeth that were removed 3 months ago. It's kind of infected and it's moved to my ear. So today I went in for a procedure with that.
Sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Sorry if anyone was eating.
So today they numbed me up, had me put back, and I was kind of panicking a little. I mean, wouldn't you get panicked if they were about to cut some flesh out of your mouth?
So I'm like, everything.
I'm like, can I get some nitrous in here? They're like, oh, let us go check to see if your insurance covers nitrous, because usually they only do that for 3-year-olds that cry all the time. But I'm like, hell, if my insurance is covering it, why the hell not?
Why suffer through this if it's going to be free? I mean,
So she goes into the other room, and I thought she was going to come back with some bad news, like, oh, no, your insurance isn't going to cover it. And I'm like, oh, what? I don't care. Just get it done with. She goes, your insurance isn't effective until next month. What? I got paperwork from my work saying that it was effective. So after they had numbed me all up, I got to drive back to work with drool coming out of my mouth.
I hate that. It always happens, too.
Yeah. So my whole mouth was like, it felt like someone hit it with a baseball. It sucked.
And they didn't even do anything.
They didn't.
So now next month you get to do it again.
Hopefully I'll have nitrous for that.
Yeah.
Nitrous? Yeah.
Are you going to ask for it to be bubblegum flavored, too?
They do that.
They do.
I don't know.
I still ask for it. Nitrous tastes awful.
Yeah, but it puts you out, so you don't have to.
Yeah, it does make it a lot better in the long run. So. Especially because anytime they numb something, in my record of having things numbed, nothing is ever numbed enough to where you don't feel it. You ever have that? Because oh yeah, when I had my wisdom teeth removed, they had numbed the heck out of me. I was on nitrous,
And when she's in there with those giant, I don't care what she wants to call them.
They're called pliers.
They're called pliers. Yeah.
They are pliers.
And she's just yanking around, and you just hear crunching and grinding and snapping.
Oh, God. You're making my teeth hurt thinking about this.
Yeah, and she's just pulling them out.
Just the silver pair of pliers just in there. Just.
And then, have you ever noticed the syringe they use to numb people's mouths? It's like this giant metal thing. I mean, it doesn't look like the one they have at the doctor's office. It's like this giant thing from like a horror movie.
It is. It looks so intimidating always. It's like,
I know.
You're going to put that in my mouth? Like,
so that's what I had done today. And you would think, after all that pain, then it would be taken care of. But no.
Of course not.
But the other day...
That's kind of funny, to be honest with you.
When I went into the dentist office that particular day, I did a prize giveaway on my morning show. So I'm like, be the fourth caller right now. And then I went to the phones, and it just so happened that the dentist that I was scheduled to see that day was the fourth caller.
That's pretty funny, because this isn't even that small of a town. So
yeah,
it's kind of
so
rare
I'm like,
that
congratulations, you just won. Oh, I'll see you today at 2:30. So that's what happened with that.
That went well.
That's what they call the show Random Overflow, going from a storage unit getting broken into the Las Vegas and then to a tooth.
To ripping your teeth out, but not actually doing it. Yeah.
So August 1st, they'll be able to do all the stuff they need to do.
So now you'll have to go back, get renumbed, miss another day of work.
No, it's salary. It's salary. It's not hourly, so you don't really miss time. You just say, I got a doctor's appointment, and they're like, okay. They don't even take sick time out. So
I guess that's good, but
not bad.
That still sucks. You have to have a giant needle crammed in your jaw again.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than ideal, but you know what I was thinking of when you were, I don't know why this was making me think of it, but when Mikey was here at the Walmart, I can't believe that still works.
You're going to talk about that on the show?
Why not?
All right.
Do you really think anyone from that Walmart is going to listen to this?
If they do, they wouldn't care. So, Jeff and I figured out the biggest hack in Walmart history.
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing thinking about it. We did it at Target too. We got better response at Target, but yeah, every Walmart, if you notice, the wall of TVs, they all have a wall of TV. And everyone thinks, well, let's play some adult content on the TV or something.
No.
And that's basically impossible. That's been thought of 100 times before you. It's on a DVD in the back room. Good freaking luck getting to it.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that's slightly overlooked, and it's all the surround sounds.
Yeah, they have surround sound
Yes.
systems set up in the back of the store.
Every store has it. It's not just Walmart. Target has it. Meijer has it. Everyone has it. And I think they overlook, because when you first think of surround sound, you're thinking, well, you would have to plug your phone into it too.
Exactly. You'd have to plug your phone into it.
And then you're going to be standing there.
For the record, that's what all the employees thought that you did.
That is what all the employees think. So, most people would think, what's the big deal? There's surround sound back there. Yeah, you can't do anything. You'll get busted. You're not going to leave your phone.
Exactly.
I mean, that'd be crazy. But some surround sounds, and most surround sounds.
Most these days,
very rarely, in all honesty, anything over a couple $100 has them. It has Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Bluetooth is that you can pair it to your phone. And
you have to take it out of demo mode first.
You do have to take it out of demo mode because, well, actually, when we first went to this Walmart, none of the surround sounds were in demo mode. And demo mode is a mode where the manufacturer puts in it where it will only work if your phone is physically plugged into it.
Yeah.
But there's also the normal mode where it'll work on Bluetooth. And to take it out of demo mode, you just need to unplug it and plug it back in. It's literally that
Power
easy.
cycle it.
Some of them you have to hold the power button when you plug it back in, but it's really easy. It's not a big deal to do. And the fun part of it is you can pair to it, and in most stores, there's not many obstacles.
No.
So you can walk to like the other side of Walmart and still be paired to it. And
so all of a sudden, we're just hanging out in Walmart, and all of a sudden you just hear this Can you play it off your phone?
Oh, I can. Hold on. Let me find it. It's...
And this is a surround sound system, so it's got bass to it. It's got a subwoofer, and it makes the whole ground shake. And, what would Jeff play? Maybe a Celine Dion record, or maybe something.
I'll give everyone a fair warning. If you're eating, stop now.
Yeah. Or turn, yeah.
This is what we play.
Just echoing throughout the whole store. And you've got these associates that are just...
You can feel the bass in the floor, too. And, stuff is rattling on the shelves. And
you've got associates running around with their heads cut off.
And we always stay, 5 or 6 aisles back.
Yeah, we're in the craft aisle.
But to where we can always still see when the associates start to freak out.
They're looking at every TV. They're looking at everything. They're like, how in the hell are they doing this?
And then we unpair with it as soon as they start getting close.
Yeah, that way it doesn't show Bluetooth connected.
Oh, it is so priceless because they still have not caught on. We've been doing this for the past 3 months.
It's funny.
And they still, every time.
If you were the manager of that Walmart,
I would
unplug it.
Yes, I would cut the power cords.
Cut the power cords, too.
Yes, I definitely would, because it is literally the whole store. I mean, the electronics are all the way back in the corner, and you can hear it at the checkouts.
At the
opposite corner of the building. And it's not quiet. I mean, it's to where you have to yell at the person next to you.
It's loud.
Oh, it's just amazing. I will give them credit, though. I don't know if it's just luck that one of the units got switched out or something, but the one that we were doing it on did get put into demo mode once. But it's never been put back in it, so I think it was just replaced or something.
Stupid.
Yeah, but it's just so funny because there's always employees who stand at the checkout by the electronics, and they'll just start running up and down the aisles, looking up and down the aisles, and they'll run over to the portable speakers, and then run over to the TVs, and run over to the Xboxes.
The funnier part about this is when you get the people at Walmart, just the
casual shoppers,
just the shoppers just walking around, and then they just hear this loud, repulsive,
and
and they just look around like, what was that?
It's always a pretty 50-50 good cut of half the people are on the ground laughing, and the other half are so offended that they're going to leave.
That's what happened at Target.
That is what happened at Target. I feel bad for it, but we literally made half of Target walk out.
There was this husband and wife shopping for baby clothes, and Jeff started doing this, and there was half of the people that were in the electronics aisle were just laughing.
It was even funnier because her husband was laughing so hard.
And she was mad that he was.
Oh
laughing.
yeah, she was. You could just see it in her face. She just had that look on her face why are you laughing? And the worst part is the husband knew we did it because he's seen me walk up and pair to the device. So he was just looking at he was trying so hard not to laugh, but he just could not do it. And his wife was just so furious, just we're going to be leaving now because of this.
And she did.
Just her husband is just his face is turning red. He's choking on it. He's trying so hard not to laugh, and the wife is just I'm not shopping here anymore. She's just so appalled.
So loud.
Oh, the one at Target was incredible.
And then the employees walk up to it, figure out which speaker it's coming out of. They're a little smarter at Target.
They are a lot smarter.
They go up behind it and just unplug it.
Yep.
And then she looks right at her associate and she goes, must be some kid with its smartphone app. And Jeff and I just look at each other like, what?
Until that comment came, I was going to say they were a lot smarter, but they're still decently smarter because to this day, no one at Walmart has figured out how we're doing it. They still look for us at the sound bars every single time. How much you want to bet someone's going to call that Walmart who listens to this show and be like, hey, I know what's going on. $75 and I'll tell you. They might pay it, to be honest.
Make some money off of this, man.
Oh,
I'm not going to judge you.
I do it literally once a week. There's other ones too. There's some other things we play that I don't know if I can play on this show because it might get aired in some places where that kind of stuff can't be aired.
you got to play it. The dance, everybody.
Yeah,
play it. Let's Let's take a break here and listen to the one of my favorite viral videos that it's been on the internet for a long time, even before the YouTube
this is
days.
very old.
Very old.
Let's see here. And these are all loaded on my phone, so I don't have to have internet.
Dance! Everybody dance!
See, it starts out, it sounds like a kid's program. Listen
It's
to it.
just so casual.
Dance, everybody. It's got this happy music playing. Listen to it. It gets worse.
Life is good! This is fun!
And at this point, all the employees are running around looking for it.
Imagine hearing this loud, full blast at a Walmart.
My anus is bleeding!
My anus is bleeding.
This is the one that we were playing at Target. This is the first one we played.
Will you share that video? Facebook.com/Random Overflow. Yeah.
Oh, that never gets old. I've had to have seen that 300-400 times.
Or heard it at a Walmart.
Never gets old. I don't know why.
That's funny.
But yeah, I keep these on my phone preloaded, ready for the
You're one sick
next
person.
unsuspecting Bluetooth speaker at the store. If it sells electronics, I guarantee you can find a Bluetooth speaker at it. I've done it Walmart's the most reliable, but
It's some smartphone app, I swear.
maybe you won't get as lucky and you'll find someone who actually knows what Bluetooth is. And I will give you a warning. When you connect to most devices, it says your phone's name on the device. So if you're in a small town or something and people know who you are, probably not the brightest idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still pretty funny. Not that I would encourage you to go out and do it or find speakers that you could do it, but if you were to go do such a thing, you would get quite a bit of fun out of it.
We're not encouraging you to do
But
it.
no, not encouraging at all.
So.
Yeah.
This is the new studio. And the second, I guess it could, we lived in a hotel room that the radio station
I
paid
just
for.
realized, why isn't the clock set?
I don't know. The
That
radio
clock's been in here for 2 months.
The radio station paid for us to stay at this hotel called the Days Inn. Very nice establishment.
That was
I mean,
nice.
and then we couldn't find anywhere
God,
in
they
the town that we
trashed
live
that
in
hotel room.
that would accept dogs. Because, my dogs are my life. They're my kids. I mean, I've got a baby coming in November, but my dogs are, I'm pretty close to them. Even though they're stupid. They eat the cat food. They eat the cat poop.
They ate our fire.
They eat the garbage.
They ate our fire.
We'll talk about the fire coming up. But
Oh yeah, the fire's a whole incident actually.
But anyways, we couldn't find anywhere. Everyone here has a dog, but if you look for a rental property in Montrose, Colorado that accepts dogs, everyone's like, no, I just have new carpet put in. I can't do it. I'm like, then I'll give you another $1,000 in a security deposit. Like, nope, can't do it. I'm like, my dogs are well trained and they're not going to stay home alone. There'll always be someone with them. Nope, can't do it. So we were actually, after working at the current job I work with for like 2 months, unfortunately, I got to call it quits. I tried everything I could. I looked at shipping my dogs back home on a plane without me.
Which I didn't even know you could do. You can fly your dogs. Just your
Ship
dogs.
your dogs.
Just the dog. You don't have to have a ticket or anything.
No.
I had no idea you could do that.
Well, you can. And I was looking at doing it. And I was also looking
That was
at
stupidly expensive.
going back home, and I was so upset about it. I told Deanna, the producer, my beautiful fiance, who's pregnant with my firstborn son, I said, you know
Unborn
what?
son?
You know what I mean. I said, I tried. We got to move back. I can't find anywhere. We were going to go back to northern Michigan. I was going to work at a job getting paid minimum wage, give up this dream job that I landed here in Montrose, Colorado.
I think we were legitimately within a 12-hour window of going to move back.
Yeah.
When we found this place.
I mean, even though I had shipped all my stuff in a U-Haul out here, I said, you know what? We'll just sell it. We'll just sell it, pack everything we can into the car, and sell everything we can. We were looking at it.
Yeah, the rental market here is just insane. I think it has to do with two things, though. I think it's the college and the fact that everyone here is old. Mm-hmm. I mean, nothing against old people, but the majority of you are terrible.
Nothing against old people. You complain about them every day.
Well, there's a few good ones, but the majority of you are...
Like who?
Terrible. What?
Except for my grandmother.
Yeah.
I had to borrow money from her in order to put an extraordinary high security deposit on this place.
Security deposit on this house was ridiculous.
Like $2,000?
It was $2,500 or something like that.
And then after we give them all that money, we still have to give them payments for the extra deposit and then pay for the rent on top of that, which is $800. And when you're making about $800 a week,
And this house just came out of the blue, Yeah. When you were thinking you were going to have to move back. Yeah. But
so this house came out of the blue.
It cost like $3,000 to be able to move in here.
And, Jeff and I are smart guys. Before we thought about renting this place, we looked at the reviews online.
Oh, Jesus.
Not one good review.
Not one.
Not one. And all these people are
and
like...
I fully understand why.
These people are like, they do everything in their power to make sure you don't get back your deposit. And I'm like, well, I just gave them $2,000. If I don't get my deposit back, I'm going to burn down their office. Okay? I mean, I'm not going to do anything to this house. I'm not going to destroy it. But 2 G's that I might not ever see again, just throwing out in the wind, pissing it away. You know what? That sucks.
Yeah, those employees there.
So I saved up all my money. I had to borrow money from family members, moved out here, and then I went on my lunch break at the radio station, which is, whatever time I want to take. But I went there.
Around noon.
Yeah, and it said that they would be closed for another hour when I finally got there. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I looked inside the door, and I see them at their counter cooking their lunch. And I held up the money like, hey, I'm here to pay you. They looked at me through the glass, went in the other room, in the break room, and had their lunch. And I'm like, seriously? I was so pissed.
If I hired a company to rent my building and they refused to take money from someone, I would be so ticked. I would not be going with them. I can guarantee that.
There's these three
that's just ridiculous.
There's these 3 old ladies that run this place, and they just think that the world owes them a favor. And when I went there to pay them the money that I owed them, they looked at me through the glass. I'm holding up cold hard cash, 4 crisp $100 bills. Actually, I think it was 3, and then all the rest were 20s. I don't know, but it was a bunch of cash.
It was a lot,
and
of
they
money.
could see I had money, and they look at me and go in the other room.
Yeah. Quite literally.
What kind of deal is that?
I mean, I understand it's your lunch break and stuff, but there's a guy knocking on the door with a handful of cash. Okay? I don't care if it's past closing, I would open the door.
So I had to go sit out in my hot, sweaty car with no air conditioning.
For an hour.
And just waited, and finally, when they flipped around that sign, I went in there, slammed down the money, and said I needed a receipt. So I got the receipt and I walked out, and then I had to go to another appointment where I had to prove of my residency. And they didn't write down the correct address. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they wrote down the wrong city. So I had to go all the way back, and I'm like, could you write down the correct address? The lady picks it up and looks at it, goes, it is. Why are you, what can I help you with? She was really short with me. And that's, hats off to Google for, having really good
Google always has very good reviews.
That's the word I'm looking for, because it said they don't give a damn about you after you pay them your first month's rent and your deposit. They don't care about you. And that is so true. Because when I went there with the money, they didn't want it. And when I went there, it said, you wrote down the wrong address. No, she was the smartest person in the world. I was the wrong one. And I'm like, well, I need to get my driver's license, and this isn't the right town. And she... So she takes my ticket and writes over it in red pen. And I'm like, well...
Oh, lovely.
I'm like, okay, whatever. They're going to think that I wrote that on there. So I could just get... She goes, it's already been put into the system. I can't rescan it, sir. She goes, I'll initial it, and if they have any problems, call me. And threw down her business card.
Oh.
This is what you have to put up with when you rent a house. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you can rent through someone and not through a company, you are one lucky person.
I mean, technically, I'm a landlord myself. I'm renting our house back in northern Michigan, where we moved from, to my sister-in-law, who is a very good tenant. Well, actually, I haven't seen the house.
Yeah,
in 3
but
months,
if
so
she
I don't know
knocked-
if it's burnt down to the ground. But
If she knocked on the door with $100 bills, you would
come on in.
You
Can
would
I help you?
tackle her.
Would
and
you
grab-
like something to drink? Are you hungry? Can I take you out to lunch?
Would you like some ice water? Some ice pop? Some ice champagne?
What do you want? What can I make you happy with? Nope, not
Nope.
them.
Nope. Go.
They
Come back
realize,
later.
I mean, they realize that they've got you by the balls, and they can do whatever the heck they want.
Oh yeah.
That's what they
Which
do.
is funny because in most areas, rental companies are like doing everything they can to get money out of you.
In places that rentals are scarce.
Yeah.
But not here, when rentals are far and few.
But
to come
here
by.
they're like, oh, move out. We'll have it rented in a week,
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? And we'll get to keep the next guy's security deposit. Mm-hmm.
No. And they did everything in their power to make sure we wouldn't get this house.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Like they kept
"There's
raising the security
they
deposit.
They kept on raising the security deposit. They kept on raising the money I needed on the first day. And then when I kept on pulling so many strings from so many different family members, and I finally showed up with a $3,000 they wanted. I mean, can you name one person that you know of that can come up with $3,000 like that?
right now?
Yeah. So I had to pull every string possible, making sure we got in this house so I wouldn't, go back on my contract through the radio station I work for. And we finally get in here. She goes, oh, it's going to be an additional $75 for this because you're paying with a credit card. It's going to be an additional $50 since it's halfway through the month. And she just kept on coming up with all this. And then I finally came up with everything she was asking for. And they had to take my money.
She was not happy.
And so we agreed, okay, well, I'll pay off the rest of the security deposit, which was like $2,000 next month. With a $500. Okay, so the next month rolled around. It was the first of the month, and she leaves me a voicemail. And after I already paid the first month rent, I paid the prorated charge. I paid all that
For the current month. And
yeah, I've
deposit.
literally paid out my butt. She calls me up and leaves a voicemail saying, I tried to charge your credit card, and it wouldn't go through for the $1,300 in which you owe me. And I'm like, what?
Like we owe them like $200. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't even think it was $200. I think it was like $147 or
For the
some crap
prorated
like
charge
that.
of the first month's
Yeah,
rent.
it was just what was left of the first month.
So technically, I paid for the, last month? When I was in there?
No, it wasn't the last month. In your deposit, you had to pay for the next month. It's not the last month, it's the next. I don't know why they do it that way. Most places you pay for the last month, but at this one you had to pay for the first 2 months and not the last month, which
And
is
the
just
security deposit.
so weird.
Anyway, so she calls me up and I said, well, no wonder why it went through, because you drained my savings after I paid you $3,000 a few days ago. And
we don't even know where she got $1,300 from, because
I do. At first month's rent plus the $500 I owed them. But I had already paid the first month's, and I had paid the prorated version.
But it was
so she
just-
swears up and down. She goes, oh, that's my mistake, sir. That's my mistake. I did not mean to do that. It turns out my paperwork was wrong. You do this for a living, lady.
And the thing is, everyone has to pay the second month rent. Every single person.
So
It's not like we're a rare case out of the blue where you had to change what you're doing. every single person who rents a property here doesn't pay the second month rent because they already paid it.
She's been doing this for years.
Exactly.
And so Jeff and I finally figured out what she was trying to do. She was trying to, bill me, because maybe they think I have, this is some kid. He's got a credit card that's got a $10,000 limit.
There's a college here. So a lot of these places are probably paid for on grants for kids to go to school.
Exactly.
Which is probably what she thought we were doing. Yeah, so she was trying to get a little extra money out of us.
And then she would say, that's fine. We overcharged
and then
you.
The best part...
What we'll do in the future is we'll just comp you a couple months, which makes sense, whatever you want to say. But then they have the $1,300 in their account right now. They don't have to wait several months to get it back. Exactly. So they tried to con me out of $1,300. I literally have a voicemail of her admitting to that.
And you remember when you called her and she's like, I didn't charge you for $1,300. I only charged you for $730 or some crap. Like, what? Like, where are you pulling these numbers out of? Like, every time you say something, the number gets smaller. Are you just going to keep trying until we say okay? Like,
that's what they were trying to do.
Because that's literally what she did. She's like, no, I wrote it down wrong. Oh, and you typed it in the credit card machine wrong, and you put it in the computer wrong, and now...
You do this for a living, lady.
Now suddenly...
I'm sorry. Okay, I can imagine if this was your first month on the job and you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
This lady literally has been there for multiple years. I've heard from several people around town. She's been there for multiple years.
And the funny thing is, not once did she say, well, did you get a fee for... us overdrafting the account or anything. No, it's just, we didn't mean to do that.
Oopsie.
What if there would have been $1,300 in there? That's a lot of freaking cash for someone to have.
And then she would have just said, okay, well, you don't owe us. Or even Jeff brought up the idea that, a 20-some-year-old young guy such as myself wouldn't have noticed it.
Yeah,
because a lot of these people have, credit cards where...
They word it in the contract very dishonestly, in my opinion, about the first month. Because it doesn't flat out say that you're paying for the first and second month. Mm-hmm. It's worded very legally and mumbo-jumbo-y to where you think it's the deposit, but part of your deposit goes towards that.
Yeah.
So I think she's just hoping that with most people, they don't read a contract.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing you can ever do is not read a contract, but
which
most
Jeff,
people do
before
not.
We signed her name to this contract, read word for word.
And she was so ticked off. She's like sitting there like, just like, you're going to make me wait while you read this? And she even said, I can just copy this for you. Like,
so I'll sign it now and then you give me a copy of what I signed.
Like, no, I'm going to sign something before I do it, and you give me back a paper that may not even be what I signed. Yeah, it was just, it's ridiculous. That company
completely
is
asinine.
Oh.
But they can get by with it.
Yeah, the rental market's so tight here that
it's just like
you don't like it. What are you going to do?
The hospital can charge you $60 for an asprin because they don't have any competition, and they can bill these insurance companies, and they won't bat an eye. It's so corrupt.
It is. It really
and the
is.
average person is an idiot for putting up with this.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but that is a very true statement. Is people are just so stupid. I mean, think of how many people we've seen walk into that place, sign a contract, and walk out, and you have no freaking clue what you're
signing.
I mean, for all you know, you just signed a thing that said you would pay $500 a month for them to come vacuum the floors, You really have no freaking clue what you just signed.
I guess the moral of the story is read everything before you sign it.
Or
everything.
Not even that you sign. Anything you agree to. I mean, I'm even going to go as far, if you check a box on a computer, at least skim over it and get the gist of what you're about to agree to.
Yeah.
But, I guess if you're that company and you can just slack off and be a jerk and still make good money, I guess that's just what they do.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
I can't say I would run my business like that, and if you were my employee and somebody was at the door with money and you walked away, you would definitely be looking for a different job.
That's why Jeff and I are trying to make this show happen. So we could be our own bosses, right?
I'll tell you what, if an advertiser ever comes to the door with cash in their hand and you sign them away,
Do you want to live here?
we're gonna be throwing your dead body off the mountain if you turn that down.
You want to live with us? That's what I would tell an advertiser if he came to the door. Hey, I'd like to sponsor Random Overflow.
I'd like you to live in our house. We'll serve you bed and breakfast every day. You know?
But for me to come to a door and then for just to be too damn lazy and just bat an eye and just, it's like giving the customer a middle finger.
How long does it take to walk up to someone, take the cash, walk over to the computer, type their name in, and click print? That takes 3 minutes tops.
My ramens will get cold. That's what she was thinking. I don't want my ramens to get cold, so
That's just
I'm just going to go sit in here.
People like that just annoy me too.
They're all old, too.
Of course they are, you know.
They're all just old people that think the world owes them.
There's 3 old women that work there, and they are just...
That's like the perfect disaster, the perfect storm.
Just any time you talk with them, they go out of their way to make it the worst and most rude experience that they can. I mean, it's like they set a goal of how many people
they can piss off.
Can we piss off in one day? That's literally what they do. But
hey,
I guess they get away with it because people are stuck with it. I mean, what else are you going to do?
It's Jeff's famous quote: "The average person is an idiot." I'm sorry. If you're the average person, you fall into that criteria.
I'm sorry too, but most of you listening probably fall into that criteria.
I'm sorry.
I wish it wasn't that way.
Well, now they won't be.
Yeah.
Because we've educated them.
Now you know. The more
you know that the average person is an idiot, so you're gonna better yourself.
Exactly. You won't be that idiot who walks in and signs something and has no freaking clue what they're doing.
You don't even need a lawyer.
No.
Just look it over.
You
and that
really
way
don't.
they get a little sketchy. And then she's like, I need you to bring in all the photos of all the defaults wrong with the house, all the
Dude,
nicks
I
and
put
stuff.
down everything.
Everything. Jeff spent a whole day writing down, there's a crayon mark on room 3 on the left wall.
4 inches
about
up,
4
8
inches
to the right.
Exactly.
You know?
And then she goes, you can take as many pictures as you want. Well, they didn't consider the fact that we didn't have a little, laser jet, printer sitting in our home office. No, I have a copy machine at work that I could print off.
You can just print
literally
hundreds
of pictures. So they literally got a packet, 4 inches thick of all kinds of pictures of things that
I just remember the lady going through the list because I also listed everything in words, and she's like, the curtains aren't broken. Like, you want to come check? Like,
she said that.
Yeah.
And no,
she's like,
here's
we
the better
always
part.
have the people come replace the curtains.
And here's the cherry on top. Jeff looks at her square in the eye and goes, what curtains? There are no curtains in this house.
There's one curtain in the living room, and
there is?
The thing looks like someone has chewed on it.
Shows how much I pay attention.
Yeah, so I mean, and she just, it's unbelievable because, and then she's looking through it, and I've got down the lawn isn't mowed and all this stuff, and she's like, well, we have maintenance people who come out and do this stuff, so it's been done. Like, if you'd like to drive out there with me, I can prove to you that none of this has been done, And then she's like,
I sure do miss being a homeowner where I didn't have to put up with this crap. But
when you could just do something without having to deal with old ladies who would second guess everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So,
but I think it's getting to that point in this show where we need to quit ranting about people that we wish were not in this world.
Unfortunately, so.
Oh, man,
There's
we
not much you can do
didn't
about
even get to the part with the TV.
What TV? What?
With buying TVs and pushing them.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be the next show. I really want to go do that.
Tune in next week to figure out what Jeff does with old tube-type televisions. Those giant ones that Grandma has in their living room with the huge back on them, not the flat-screen monitors, that people try to sell for what?
ridiculous prices most of the time.
$40, I'll let this TV go. You know what? If you offered me $40, I couldn't dispose of it for you.
Oh, that's how these things are, too.
Tune in next week to hear that. Hey, you're listening to Random Overflow on the Dirty South Network, not the Indie Authority. Goodbye, Indie Authority. We will do without you. It's been fun.
And
see you next week.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Dirty South Network. Join us next week worldwide. Listen to us on radio, check listings for stations and times, or catch this or previous shows on demand anytime at aircheck.us/show/916. Dirty South Network, all rights reserved.